How's it going, everyone? My name is Michael SK, and welcome back to Higurashi When They Cry. We are eating lunch, but not in Hinamizawa. We decided to leave the good old, definitely not haunted or cursed village, and head into town. Get some fresh air, if that's what you really want to call it. It really should be the other way around. But with everything that we've been learning in these past few episodes, I'm starting to wonder. I really am. The last episode was a little fun. Just a little. I don't know how else to describe it other than, just being kind of surprising in a way. But I guess we'll see what happens this time around. It's now nighttime. I'm recording this in the same day as the previous episode. So if I get spooked a little easier, then it's because it's darker and I'm just a pussy. So I guess we'll see what happens here. So yeah, we're here eating lunch with Oishi-san. I don't know how to properly pronounce his name, so excuse me for that.
人食い鬼の里だって言われてたって話でしたっけ？
私もあんまり詳しい方じゃないので、うちのおばあ様に今朝ちょっと聞いてみたんです。
Oishi-san took out the notepad that was stuffed into his breast pocket.
なんでもですね、大昔はHinamizawaは鬼ヶ淵って呼ばれてたんだそうです。
鬼ヶ淵、すごい名前ですね。
Yeah, I don't even know how to pronounce that.
今でもその名前残ってるんですよ。神主の妻が受水自殺した沼の名前は今でも鬼ヶ淵と言うんです。
Oh, fun.
沼の底の底は鬼たちの住む国とつながってると言われてたんだそうです。
Of course, nobody had told me anything about such an ominous marsh.
でですね、鬼ヶ淵は恐れられていたと同時に崇められてもいたんだそうです。
A respect born of fear. I guess you could say it was kind of deification or whatever that was. A village of inhuman creatures.
鬼たちはある種の仙人でもあったらしいんですよ。例えば不治の病にかかった村人を鬼ヶ淵に運んで治してもらったりとかしたんだそうです。
Even if we are calling them demons, Tengu, long-nosed goblins, or Senin would be more apt, or be a more apt description.
鬼って言ってもそんなに悪い人たちじゃないみたいですね。
でもそこはやっぱり人食い鬼らしいんです。ばあ様に聞いた昔話ではですね、息子を治療してもらった代償として連れてきた母親を食わせろとこうなるらしいんですよ。
息子を治療してもらった対価が自分ですか？それは怖いな。
もちろん母親は息子を連れて逃げます。これをですね、鬼ヶ淵に住む村人鬼たちがですね、全員で追いかけて取り囲んで捕まえたんだそうです。
The entire village, apparently. That's quite a frightening thing to imagine. You got that right. Jesus.
結局母親も息子も捕まって食べられちゃったんだそうです。おしまい。
その話矛盾がありますよ。
Yeah, it didn't put me to sleep.
当事者の2人が食べられちゃったんですから、その話が残るはずがありません。
ありゃ。昔話はこういうの多いですよね。
Yeah, that's where the name fable comes from. In contrast to the ghastly tale, Oishi-san laughed heartily while sipping his coffee.
でもですね、他の昔話にも結構あるらしいんですよ。鬼ヶ淵の鬼たちが総出で獲物を捕まえに来るというのは。
I recalled that Mion said all the villagers united and fought against the dam construction. I saw similarities with how that part about unification overlapped.
鬼たちの獲物は常に一人で、しかも前もって決められているらしいんです。
え？
And that caught my attention. Oishi-san also appeared to be pondering what it meant.
ばあ様が言うにはですね、鬼の狩りの時には絶対に邪魔をしてはいけない。家に閉じこもって布団をかぶってろって言うんです。
つまり どういうことですか？
獲物の人を助けたり、かくまったりしてはいけないんだそうです。
Basically, just mind your own business, huh?
鬼の狩りを邪魔しない限り、村人には危害を加えない。そういうルールなんだそうです。
Basically, don't help the victims. Pretend you didn't see the atrocities. In other words,
ルールを破ったらどうなるんです？
you get involved.
さあ、何しろ人食い鬼ですからね。
You're gonna die. Many parts of that tale caught my attention. Parts of the story he told me overlapped with this theory that the entire village was in on the crime. Even if it wasn't the whole village, it was inconceivable that the villagers were hiding under the covers and leaving them to die when there's a group that was on their hunt, wasn't it? I didn't dare speak it.
じゃあ大石さんはやっぱり村ぐるみもしくは村人数人の犯行だと見てるんですね。
前原さんはどう思います？ああ、すみません。コーヒーのおかわりいいですか？
That's what I wanted to know. It seemed that we were both waiting for the other to say that last part. He waited for the waitress to finish pouring coffee before speaking.
去年、サトシ君が失踪した頃から、私は不審に感じていたんです。
Oishi-san muttered as he watched the milk swirl around in his coffee.
それで、サトシさんのお友達、つまり、前原さんのお友達グループの皆さんを、ちょっぴりだけ、本当にちょっぴりだけですよ、調べさせてもらったんです。
If Oishi-san had said this to me before, I would have gotten angry at him for calling my friends into question. But as I was now, I couldn't.
とてもつまらない話になります。前原さんがつまらないと感じたらいつでもおっしゃってください。終わりにしますので。
Oishi-san was wearing the most serious expression that I'd ever seen from him. It was as if he was telling me to prepare myself and listen. There were quite a few things I regretted hearing from Oishi-san, but none of them were as threatening as this. A little voice inside me was screaming like an alarm. Stop, Keiichi. This was probably the last one. I took a deep breath and silenced that voice. I would not run from the truth.
お願いします。
That was all I could utter. Oishi-san stared into my eyes silently for a few moments. After he was certain I was ready, he began.
1年目の事件の被害者は現場の監督さんだったんですが、事件の数週間前に園崎美音さんと取っ組み合いをしてるんですよ。何度か。
Oh, multiple, huh? Oishi-san had said before that Mion had defied the damn project vehemently. Well, it wasn't hard to imagine how she'd be if she got worked up.
2年目の事件で誘致派の夫婦が事故に遭いましたよね。現場にはお嬢さんも一緒にいたんです。それが北条聡子さんなんです。
え？聡子って聡子？
Oishi-san's look told me that my voice was too loud. I realized it as well and quickly quieted down.
3年目には神主夫婦が亡くなられますよね。そのお嬢さんが古出里香さんです。
Of course. No, of course. It all adds up there.
リカちゃんが
？4年目に亡くなった主婦はもうわかりますね。
This group that we're in is very cursed.
北条聡子さんの義理のおばです。当時は聡子さんはご両親を事故で失っていましたので預けられていたのです。被害者宅に。
I could tell my lips were getting dry. I didn't even have the wits to keep my mouth from hanging agape. I had thought it was nothing but a bizarre incident, one that I could easily distance myself from. But clicking and clacking, it snuck all the way to my feet.
ちなみに4年目に失踪した北条聡さんは聡子さんの実の兄になります。
ちょっと待ってください。
Yeah, I'm getting lost here myself. It took everything I had to finally say that. I gulped down a glass of water and once again wiped my face with a napkin. Calm down, Keiichi Maibara. But Oishi-san was relentless. Instead of waiting for me to finish sorting out my feelings, he started speaking again. The last of the things I shouldn't have heard.
被害者たちはなぜか あなたのお友達グループに全てつながるのです。
I mean, I already made that connection, and it's not great. It's really not great.
偶然に決まってるじゃないですか。
前原さん、静かに、静かに。みんな見てますよ。
Mio? Sadoko? Rika-chan? So what if they're connected? You're telling me all of my friends? It couldn't be, it just couldn't be. Oh, Rena is different, isn't she? Rena isn't connected with the victims at all.
竜宮レナさんは去年まで茨城の郊外にお住まいでした。まあ確かにいずれの被害者とも直接の面識はありませんが。
Yet. That's why she was bringing it up. That's where her concern's coming from. She knows about how everybody else in the group, well, besides us, has already had some sort of connection with prior cases. This means that eventually she's going to somehow be connected. He said it in a roundabout way. Is he saying she's also connected? Oh, if she's not already, you know.
調べてみたら、竜宮さんは引っ越しの少し前に学校で謹慎処分を受けているんですよ。
What happened to the music?
なんでも学校中のガラスを割って回ったんだとか。
Ah.
レナが学校中のガラスを割った？
Yeah, they just weren't cute enough. That same spacey Rena had... I couldn't even imagine it.
3日間の謹慎が明けた後も復学しなかったようです。その間に神経科に通院し、何週間かの間、投薬と医師によるカウンセリングを受けています。
Oh, I get it now. The other three, they're connected in some sort of way to the other victims. But Rena, oh no, she's just crazy. I wonder if it was something like a nervous breakdown. I'd heard that it happens to people who are really methodical or overly sensitive. Neither of those matched Rena's easygoing personality.
でですね、そのカウンセリングをした医師のカルテに、レナさんの会話内容が記載されているんですがね、その中に出てくるんですよ。
Oh yeah, please tell me what it is and why it's surrounded by apostrophes.
結構。
Or I guess it's single quote.
何がです？
I pressed forward carelessly. There couldn't be anything more for me to regret.
出てくるんですよ。お社様って単語が。
Of course she did. Of course she did. Before she ever even came here, she just had to mention Oyashiro-sama. It felt like someone's stone-cold hand was caressing my back. Why? Why had Rena spoken of Oyashiro-sama before she even came to Hinamizawa?
お社様っていう幽霊みたいなものがですね、夜な夜な自宅にやってくるっていうんですよ。枕元に立って自分を見下ろすんだって。
That's a creepy thing to imagine. My mind froze. I couldn't process what I was being told.
その後、しばらくしてHinamizawaに引っ越されたんです。
Oh boy, was her wish granted.
ああ、そうそう。レナさんはよそ者なんかじゃないですよ。
え？
住民票で分かったんですが、竜宮一家は元はHinamizawaの住人です。
Oh, okay. So it's not like a random, oh boy, do I really just want to live in Hinamizawa to be close to Oyashiro-sama.
レナさんがちょうど小学校に上がるときに茨城へ引っ越されたんです。
My mind went completely blank. It was similar to the static you'd see on a blank TV channel. My ears began ringing as I lost all sense of comprehension.
前原さん、大丈夫ですか？
Yeah.
もう終わりにしましょうか。
Those words brought me back. I couldn't let it end here.
レナのことは分かりました。じゃあ最後の被害者の富武さんはどうなんですか？誰と接点があるんですか？
Irritated, I let out one final reprisal. Us.
全員ですよ。
Oh, okay, all of us.
お
Or all
忘れ
of
ですか、
them.
前原さん。みんなで楽しくお祭りの晩を過ごしたじゃないですか。何人もの警官が皆さんの楽しそうな様子を見ていますよ。
Now there was nothing I could respond with. I fell silent as my brain turned to mush. I mean, that is kind of true when you think about it.
そろそろ出ましょう。
Like, he's come, like, multiple times. All of them seem to know him. Like, they treated him like a really good friend. He was even brought into the group as an honorary member, even so he didn't live in Hinamizawa officially. Oh boy.
ああ、前原さん。お昼の薬は飲みましたか？
I had completely forgotten about the medicine, I had gotten today until Oishi-san said that. I got another glass of water and we left the shop after I chugged it down. Imagine needing water to swallow a pill. Because I don't. We got in the car and returned to Hinamizawa via the rough road. I never really paid attention when I was on my bike, but did cars normally shake this much? It was almost as if the road was desperately trying to tell me something. Ba-dump. That big jolt was the difference in elevation of the road when it changed from cement to dirt. I was certain that I heard Tomitake-san scream. I sat in silence, just letting myself be shaken by the car.
お家の前まで送りましょう。今日は病気でお休みだったんですよね。長々とお話ししてしまって申し訳ありませんでした。
なんで俺に話すんですか？
I blurted out the question. Really, just blurted it out. I'm honestly kind of curious myself. He's really just been letting all this information flow right into our eyeballs. I didn't expect an answer.
私、一応確認しましたよね。
Yeah?
お話やめましょうかって。
じゃなくて、どうして俺に接触してきたんですか？
I understood quite well that Oishi-san was investigating this string of suspicious incidents. But why was he telling me all of this? I knew nothing and I couldn't help. Everything Oishi-san spoke of was news to me. First of all, what could I, having just moved here, possibly know? By chance, if there was a reason for Oishi-san to reach out to me, then it would have to be that I was part of Mion's circle of friends who looked suspicious to Oishi-san.
私ね、今年で定年なんです。定年したらばあ様の意向で引っ越しちゃう予定なんですよ。だからこそ在職中にこの事件だけははっきりさせておきたかったんです。
で、大石さんは疑ってるんですよね。みんなを。
Oishi-san didn't really give a response. I felt a little late, but I thought it was his way of showing a bit of consideration for my feelings.
これはこの道30年の勘です。前原さん、危ないのはあなたなんですよ。
Wow, you don't say. I wanted to reply with that's absurd, but in my downtrodden state, I couldn't bring myself to say it.
私は今年で定年ですから、来年の綿流しの日にはもういません。だから今年中に決着をつけたいのです。
In other words, he was insinuating that on the next Onikakashu, I might be the victim.
所長からも注意を受けています。一連の事件は個々に解決しているから蒸し返すなと言うんです。これは一種の圧力です。
圧力って何のですか？
ひなみ沢の誰かですよ。着きました。この辺でいいですか
？After some time, the car finally reached the path to my house. The clock read 2 p.m. I was surprised so little time had passed since we ate. It was hot outside the car. The chirping of the Higurashi hurt my ears.
今日の話は全て忘れてくださっても結構です。
I don't think that's physically possible.
ですが、私は捜査を続けますよ。お社様のたたりは今年で終わらせます。
何かあったら連絡しろってことですか？
いいんですよ。前原さんがどうしても連絡したくなった時だけでいいんです。
I wasn't collected enough to understand Oishi-san's roundabout way of saying it.
ゆっくり休んでください。病気でお休みの時に良くない話ばかりして申し訳ありませんでしたね。
I know you're feeling under the weather, so let me make it worse. I didn't really give any sort of response.
私はいつでもあなたの味方です。それだけは信じといてくださいよ。それじゃ 失礼。
Honestly, I want to say I trust him, but if anything, I only really want to say that because I don't really believe in this curse. I think that there are people that are just trying to make it seem like there is a curse, working together, whether it's the entire village or our friends that we've been goofing off with for like 10 or so episodes. I don't know. The tires crunched over the dirt road as the car made a U-turn and disappeared into a cloud of kicked up dust. I felt like I was watching a boat only throw me a lifesaver in shark-infested waters before disappearing into the distance. That was the first time I thought Oishi-san was being unfair, telling me I was going to be the next victim, then just saying to contact him if something happened. This wasn't a criminal investigation. He was fishing, and I was just the bait dangling off the line. Would the fish be the perpetrator? Or was it really just Oyashiro-sama's curse? That name continues to throw me off. Either way, the bait would be swallowed whole.
畜生。俺、死にたくないよ。
Sorry, I was getting a drink. For some time, I could do nothing but stare at the puddle of water left behind by the AC from the car. Gotta love it when that happens. Jesus Christ, man. I feel like the pacing has just shifted into R for race ever since we started learning about this shit. It's insanity. I wonder how much time had passed since I laid down. It was getting dark outside. My body was soaked in sweat. It would probably be a good idea to change my sheets. At that moment, the phone downstairs rang. We have a phone up here, though. It was probably Mom. Mom was quite the worrywart. Maybe she had called many times, but I just didn't notice it.
もしもし、前原ですけど。
お、生きてた。もしもーし、ミオンだけど。
Oh, I can tell. It says Mion right here in the text box.
具合はどう？
圭一のお友達ですか？圭一は休んでますけど。変わりましょうか？
お父様で？すみません。
You fool.
バカで引っかかってやがるよ。
After our exchange, we both had a good laugh together. Except I was suspicious of her even as we were laughing. Was everybody really involved in the incidents? The fact that I couldn't say no saddened me.
元気そうで安心したよ。レナもすっごく心配してたよ。
Mm-hmm.
サトコはざまあないですわって喜んでたな。
Well, I guess we should have expected that out of her.
リカちゃんは病気でかわいそうですってさ。
チェ、みんなで勝手に大盛り上がりしてたみたいだな。
まあまあ。でさ、ケイちゃん、お見舞いに行っちゃ都合悪いかな。
お見舞い？いいよそんな。重病人ってわけじゃないんだから。
うちのバッチャが山ほどおはぎを作ってさ。
Oh yeah?
お裾分けに持ってけって言ってんだよ。だから持ってくね。
おいおい、風が移っても知らねえぞ。
おじさんもレナもおバカさんだから大丈夫。
I don't think smartness, stupidity, anything like that has to do with catching a cold.
じゃあね、すぐ行くから。
She hung up cheerfully. Rena's coming too. And that's what it sounded like. I was still concerned about meeting Rena, but I guess if she was with Mion... Yeah, I'm sure everything will just work out so dandy here. I heard the doorbell 10 minutes later. Damn, they quick.
どんな感じ？ちゃんと薬飲んで寝てた？
そりゃもうしっかりとな。
元気そうでよかった。心配してたんだよ。
悪かったな。明日にはもう大丈夫だよ。
I mean, we really could just play it off as exhaustion that kind of caught up to us ever since the festival. I mean, that's probably what he even considered, maybe in the last episode or so, whenever he said that he thought he was getting sick. Mion showed a complete lack of concern for someone who's recovering, and Rena looked like she was worried about me from the bottom of her heart. It didn't look like there was anything behind those expressions.
ちょっとお邪魔しようかと思ったけど、まだ本調子じゃないみたいだね。
Yes, let us go hang out with our sick friend.
そうか
I see my face appeared a bit sullen.
じゃあこれケイチくん、みーちゃんのおばあちゃんが作ってくれたおはぎだよ。
Rena held out the package wrapped in newspaper. There might be about 5 in here. It was quite hefty.
あ、サンキューな。ミオンのばあちゃんによろしく伝えといてくれよ。
その中にね、レナが作ったのも混じってるんだよ。ケイチくんに見つけられるかな。
これ今日の部活を欠席したケイちゃんへの宿題ね。おはぎにアルファベットがついてるから明日回答すること。
お見舞いなのか部活なのかどっちかにしろ。
元気元気。これなら明日は大丈夫そうだね。
Well, we have 3 days worth of medicine, so I hope we'll be
この
okay.
騒ぎで熱がぶり返したらどうしてくれんだよ、まったく。
みーちゃん、あんまり騒いじゃ悪いよ。もう行こう。お家の人にも怒られるよ。
Both of them thought my parents were home. It was because the entranceway was a mess.
そうだね。もう行こっかね。あ、そうそうケイちゃん。
なんだよ。
Oh no. Oh
お昼
no.
何食べた？
Bro, I was getting worried when the music went away. Oh no, dude. It's not just Rena. We're fucked. We're gonna die. The sudden question startled me, and I went wide-eyed when I saw Mion. I had never seen her like that. It was a highly unsettling visage. But why is she asking me what I ate for lunch? What she said was so inane, it was almost meaningless. The way she said it, it was almost like she didn't even care at all about what I ate.
表で食べたよ。
She must have suspected that I was with Oishi-san. Anyway, I felt that if I hesitated or tried to change the subject, then they'd read too deep into it. So I tried answering as quickly as possible. Except contrary to the efforts I had made, there was a pause before they replied. Oh no. Oh no.
ケイチくん、お昼は外食だったんだね。
So is like everyone in this village like this? It's not just Rena, who I thought was crazy. It's just everyone. The glimmer from Rena's eyes had changed at some point as well. It was now sharp, as if to make me feel the feigned ignorance behind her words even more. As if she already knew. That's how it looked to me.
どう？美味しかった？
I don't even know what I ate.
なんでそんなことを聞くんだよ。
Mion was speaking in an unusually low tone, almost as if she knew that I had eaten at the restaurant in town. No, I'm overthinking this. I mean, both of them should have been at school and in school at lunchtime, excuse me. There was no way they could have known where I was.
渋いおじさまとご一緒だったみたいだけど。誰？
Can some music come back? Like, it could be spooky music too. I just need the music to come back. There's a flop. The package with the mochi I was holding slipped out of my hands. I could tell the blood had drained from my face, making me go pale.
へえ。
Oh, fucking shit, dude.
ケイチくん、それ誰？ひょっとして、この間の人かな？かな？
Oh, she also does the stupid ass, cute ass, it's still cute when she's scary, thing where she repeats her question or her statement. I could feel the back of my throat going dry. This was no longer a bluff. They knew everything.
なんでそんなことわかるんだよ。
It took everything I had to finally force those words from my throat. My knees were shaking.
さーてね。おじさんにわからないことはないからね。
I hate how they're still the same. Like, it's not like there's another personality that's coming out here. This is just, it's them. It's just a side of them I don't like. Mion sneered knowingly, and her laugh seemed to carry on forever.
で、ケイちゃん、何のお話をしてたの？ずいぶんと熱くなってたみたいだけど。
みんなの話はしてないよ。ミオンともレナとも関係ない。
Don't smile, please.
聞いてもないのにレナたちの名前が出るなんてなんだか怪しいな。
Rena's unwavering gaze pierced through my eyes and peered further inside me. I dug my own grave. Yeah, we really did. My heart was throbbing so much it felt like it was going to explode.
何を隠れてやろうとも、おじさんには全てお見通しってこと。それだけを忘れないでくれればいいかな。
I couldn't even shake my head. I took everything I had to stop my teeth from chattering. She never let her gaze break from mine, even as she tilted her head slightly.
ケイチ君、顔色悪いよ。
Yeah, definitely not.
もう横になった方がいいと思うな。
Yeah, once you leave my house.
そうだね。私たちはもう帰ろう。
Please do. As if nothing had happened, they both giggled at each other and started making their way out. I don't want this food anymore. I hadn't moved a muscle since I had dropped the package of mochi. As they left, the door slowly closed behind them. All I could do was stare, as if I couldn't move until the door was completely closed. Just as the door was about closed, it opened again slightly with a sudden creak, sending my heart racing once again. Uh-oh. Oh, Jesus. A single eye pierced through that narrow slit, and Mion's hawkish gaze peered at me once again.
じゃあね、ケイちゃん。
あ、
明日、学校休んじゃ嫌だよ。
I guess we're going to school tomorrow, boys. Can't wait. The door closed. Wait, how did they lock it? Did we lock it? Did we lock it and then she opened it and then she did that? What were the chain of events there? I wasn't able to move a muscle even after their low laughter died off into the distance and silence once again enveloped the room. Coming back to my senses, the first thing I did was lock the door. So wait a minute, no, back in the CG, the door was locked. They knew what Oishi-san and I talked about? Why? How? No, that wasn't important. Thinking about it now, all of it could have been overheard from the beginning when Oishi-san met me. Just as Mion said, I couldn't hide anything. Then what were they trying to tell me? That part was obvious. They were warning me not to say anything unnecessary. What did they deem unnecessary? I only talked with Oishi-san about one thing, and they were warning me that that was unnecessary. What was it that Oishi-san talked to me about? The incidents involving Oyashiro-sama's curse that occurred every year weren't individual cases, but were connected as a whole. As well as the fact that there may be, multiple perpetrators hidden within Hinamizawa. No, more precisely, that Mion, Rena, Saroko, and Rika-chan were all suspicious. Is that what they were warning me against?
何バカなこと考えてんだよ、俺。
I hit my own face hard enough that it let out a loud slap. If only that would wake me from this nightmare, but for some reason it felt like I was punching a blanket. It was almost laughably painless. Calm down, Keiichi Maibara. When did I become such a pessimist? Calm down, calm down. Settle down and sort things out. The reason Mio knew I was eating lunch with Oishi-san was probably because somebody from Hinamizawa just happened to be there at the time. They must have told Mion that I was there. That made the most sense. Plus, come to think of it, she didn't ask me where I ate lunch, did she? She only asked, was it good? They were just curious since I was together with someone not from Hinamizawa. It's not as if they had any ulterior motives. That's it. That has to be it. Thinking about it that way, it was the same with Rena. I was just being strangely ambiguous about when I met Oishi-san, and Rena was just correcting me on that. That's when I was bewildered by the changing character from the usual mild-mannered Rena, and was just startled by it. That's the most natural way of thinking about it. It felt like my mind was mixed up like a tangled mess of spaghetti. Deep red marinara sauce, would have poured out of my nose and ears if you squeezed my head. Thinking that, I suddenly felt like vomiting. I really didn't want that to happen, so I stopped holding my head. Lately, I had no idea what anyone was saying. Spending time with them was fun. I didn't feel like there were any sort of hidden agenda. I really do think that they're a good bunch of people. When I just moved here and couldn't make heads or tails of everything, they were really kind to me. Rena was really kind and always looked after me. As long as that strange affliction didn't rear its ugly head, she was really pretty cute. Mion is also a really good person. She didn't care about anyone's age or gender, and was optimistic and outgoing. I was never bored when I was with her. And talking of not getting bored, rambunctious Sadako was a good person for that too. She was pretty bratty, and that was just the way she interacted with others. Rika-chan was the same way. She didn't speak often, but that didn't mean she was always silent. They're my friends. But after hearing of the better untold secrets of Hinamizawa from Oishi-san and Tomitake-san, when I was told about Oyashiro-sama's curse, things started going crazy. Then hearing from Oishi-san that Mion, Rena, Sadako, and Rika-chan were all suspicious, after that, everyone changed. That's right. It all started getting weird after Oishi-san told me all that strange stuff. At that time, I really should have just not listened to those weird stories. I shouldn't even have asked Tomitake-san about the past incidents on the night of the Wanatagashi. If I had just gotten that strange sense of curiosity, or hadn't gotten it, if I just hadn't. That's right. So that's why they killed Tomitake. That could really be taken the wrong way there. I don't know why they censored that. That impudent outsider speaking to the likes of me after everybody went out of their way to keep it a secret from me. They'll probably kill Uoshi-san as... Why are they censoring kill? Is that just not allowed? For trying to unearth what everybody was warning me was better left buried. Besides that, he was unforgivable for spewing words that made me doubt the others. Of course, a guy like that is going to be killed. Both Tomitake-san and Uoshi-san were nothing but outsiders after all. They were entities who couldn't coexist with the people of Hinamizawa. Those guys should just fall to Oyashiro-sama's curse and just die. Well, that pretty much confirmed that kill and die were being censored there. I don't know why they're being censored, but they are. It wasn't their fault. It was my fault for not being able to hold back my curiosity. It wasn't their fault. 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 Yeah. We get it. I settled into a daze. It was a lethargic feeling like I had just gotten up, but the ominous chill that haunted me had subsided. I was fine now. I was no longer frightened. I had completely recovered. Yeah, absolutely. I'll go to school tomorrow, right as rain. I'll greet everyone. I'll take part in club activities. It'll definitely be fun. It had to be fun. I was one of them after all. Oh, Jesus Christ. Him speaking scared me. I don't know why, but it scared me. Oh man, I guess this whole situation is really getting to me here. I remembered the homework the two brought with them when they visited me. But wow, our club did delivery. That was something else. I picked up the package I dropped on the floor and headed into the living room. I'm sure it spells something I don't want it to... fuck me. It would be nice, I guess, to have some tea with it. To fill my mouth with mochi while drinking tea. Oh. This was quite a delectable situation I was in. Opening up the newspaper wrapping, there were 5 plump red bean paste mochi filled snugly inside. There were letters written from left to right on the newspaper, A, B, C, D, and E. Now then, they said Rena made one of these. I wonder which one. There wasn't much difference in how they looked. They smelled and appeared about the same. This was a pretty difficult problem. The biggest difference was probably their shape. I wasn't sure what kind of person Mion's grandma was, but Rena's had to be different from hers. Looking carefully, I could see one mochi that was made very neatly. So well that just by staring at it, one could tell it stood out. Calm down and think even harder. Mion had said her grandma made a ton of them and was told to give some out, if I remembered correctly. So that meant 4 of these were from that large batch. Then what about Rena? She probably only made one. so she probably spent quite a bit of time on it, meaning the one Rena made was this one, E. For a moment I thought it had been a trap Mion laid as she knew I'd pick up on it, but that probably wasn't the case. I wouldn't be so sure if I knew Mion had made it, but since she said Rena made it, it probably wasn't a trap.
よし、お茶も準備 OK。まずはディフェンディングチャンピオンのミオンのばあちゃんからだ。どれ？
I have a bad feeling about mochi. Not bad. The smooth bean paste and soft chewy texture left little to be desired. The tea I drank afterwards also accentuated the experience. This was an exquisite piece of work. Now, how about Rena's? The creation was so delicate, one would think that it was a high-class Japanese dessert. Since I normally had quite the appetite, I was slightly worried about the size of the portion. But, well, first a bite. We're gonna taste something that we don't want to taste, right? This was quite a difficult one to judge, actually. The ingredients were exactly the same, so there was little difference in flavor. What was different was how it was shaped at the end, so it was to be expected. So the deciding factors would be presentation and volume. The well-formed and well-sized champion versus Rena the challenger, with a size you just couldn't get enough of. I'd only had one bite of Rena's. I would probably have to wait until after I was done eating to make my decision. Maybe there was something hidden inside that could cause an upset, excuse me. It seems my prediction was right. My tongue touched something. Oh no. Oh no. Something not edible? Oh shit, dog. Oh no. What was this? Well, what is it? Before I could fully comprehend what it was, I threw away the rest of the mochi I was eating as fast as I could. Well, what was it? It slammed against the wall, causing the bean jam to splatter. Then after sticking for a moment, it slid down the floor, or to the floor. I was dumbstruck by my own actions. What was I doing? Rena had gone out of her way to make it for me. How could I? Dumbstruck, I looked down at the hand that performed such a vile act. Then I remembered what I had taken out of my mouth. At first I thought it was hair. Even though it was shorter than Mion's, Rena's hair was still quite long. And it wasn't this short. It was also a bit too hard for it to be hair. Oh no. It was thick enough to roll around on my tongue. There was a bit of a metallic sheen on one end of it. Yes, there was a hole for where the thread goes through, like a sewing needle. Yes, that's right. It looked very much like a sewing needle. Exactly like one. The end was pointed as well. What the fuck? Quite sharply. It really did just look like a sewing needle. Huh? What did I mean looked very much like a sewing needle just a bit ago? I couldn't answer. But a voice inside me already knew, and let me know by chattering my molars together. I couldn't stave off the terror welling up inside me. Suddenly I tasted something metallic and felt a prickling pain at the back of my throat. I stuck my finger in the back of my mouth and felt around to see if I was bleeding. Suddenly I felt the urge to vomit. The sharp taste of bile irritated the back of my throat. I clasped both hands over my mouth. After writhing in agony, I was somehow able to hold back the nausea. I was finally able to breathe normally again, but this time my heart was throbbing intensely. Then it finally registered. Exactly what was mixed in with the mochi. Before I could think of the correct word, my hands were already on the move. I love sound effects. I tossed the rest of the mochi against the wall. The geometrical patterns of the scattered bean jam on the wall suddenly invoked a terrible omen in my mind. After looking away, I dashed out to the hall, flew upstairs to my room where I stayed under my covers until morning. Did I miss something there? I clutched my own shoulders, howling madly in a mix of fear, anger, sadness, and frustration. This wasn't a threat or warning or reminder, nothing as simple as that. What had happened in Hinamizawa, excuse me. What is happening in Hinamizawa? What would happen? I didn't know the answer to any of those questions. Where did I break a taboo? Regardless, how Rena and Mion and others, they consider me, or now Rena and Mion and others, they consider me an enemy. And they thought I should just die. I won't let you kill me. Not for such a pointless reason. I fell into a restless sleep as I was crushed by my negative emotions. It was as if I was being drawn into a billowing, bottomless marsh. Jesus Christ. So was there a needle in his mouth? Was that what was going on there? I was honestly kind of getting spooked, so it was getting really hard to comprehend things. Okay, a drug that makes you kill yourself and threat. Beautiful titles for tips. Hard to swallow. Good achievement. Damn, I got 2 achievements in one day. Tight. Wow, we're really just fucking rolling here. All right, well, I'm gonna stop playing. This may have been a mistake to record this, but whatever. Thank you guys for watching this episode, and I definitely got scared there at the end. And it's like, it's weird because jump scares are usually what scares me, but just, I guess I'm getting immersed into what's happening, and it's actually scaring me. So I guess this game's doing an excellent job of freaking me out. I can't wait to see what happens next, because we're really on the wrong end of this stick here. We really are. So next time we'll read those 2 new tips, and we'll continue on with the story. Thank you all for watching this episode. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take it easy.